They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned. Straight up. Look, I came into this world in 1978. The doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane though, far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I'd have mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in 01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth, I'm OG King Kirk. Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend, let's work.
Hey, this is OG King Kurt, your host of the OG2CENTS podcast. I want to thank each and every one of you who continue to tune in each and every Sunday. Truly appreciate it. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share it. Also, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Helps us out a lot. Links for all available streaming platforms will be in the description. Make sure you continue to stand up against any form of social injustice and racism. And this episode is brought to you by Zenni Blocks. Make sure to armor your eyes with Zenni Blocks virtual clear blue blockers. It's important to protect your eyes from the harmful blue light from your digital screens, so you'll have less eye strain, and that makes for better sleep and performance. Check them out at zenni.com/gaming or follow them at Zenni Gaming on Twitter and Instagram. This episode is episode number 50. And I want to do something special for this episode. It's the OGs with Dietrick Glover. A great friend of mine. Actually, he's somebody who really inspired me and kept me doing what I was doing in the 2K community. Just to tell you a little bit about him, he enlisted in the Air Force in May of 1992, played base team basketball at Maelstrom Air Force Base and Ramstein Air Base in Germany. In 1995, he tore his ACL and MCL playing basketball. And when he healed, the second team needed a coach, so he applied and was selected for the job. 1995, 1997, he was the head coach for the Ramstein Rams, and they traveled all over Europe competing. From 1997 to 2001, Dietrick was assigned to Hobart Field, Florida, where he was selected to be the head coach for the Hobart Field Commandos. They won the military CMAC title 2 of the 3 years he was there. From June 2001 to 2004, he was assigned to Osan Air Base in South Korea, where he was the assistant coach to a Pacific basketball legend, Mr. Tony Jones. They played 82 game seasons and traveled all over the Pacific. While assisting the base team, he applied to coach the high school team at Osan, but could not be the head coach because he was not a teacher, which was a requirement. So he found a teacher to take the head coaching position, and sat there while he coached the team. He led the Osan Cougars to the first and only high school basketball championship to date. In 2004, Dietrick moved to Kadena Air Base in Japan, where he coached a club team named The Truth until he retired from military service in 2007. Now serves as a labor relations specialist for the Department of Defense. His love for video games, especially basketball video games, goes all the way back to Jordan versus Bird and Double Dribble. He is the founder of the Structured Basketball League, known as the SBA. And that's truly where we met. So without further ado, Dietrick Glover, how you doing today?
Doing good, OG. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm excited, man. I told myself I didn't know how many episodes I was going to do for the podcast. I've seen a lot of people start and finish. So I just said I just keep going week by week. And here we are, episode 50, and I wanted to be a special one, man. But You know, like I mentioned, Dietrick is somebody I met in the 2K community while running the SBA. So just, you know, I named off a plethora of things that you've done in the military, but, you know, just getting right into it, you know, just tell your story on how you got to where you are today.
So I grew up a military brat, traveling the world with my father and mother until he got out of the military, and we went back to New Jersey, where I'm from, in New Brunswick, Somerset, Franklin area, where I went to high school and played high school basketball. Um, and then at the age of 20, I decided to go to the Air Force. So I joined the Air Force at the age of 20.
So, you know, I served in the Navy, man. I had a good time. It was real interesting because naming off all the basketball accolades from the military, I think a lot of people, when they think of the military, they don't think sports. And I had a fun time playing in all the naval leagues and representing the ship team, and then pulling in the port, playing against other ships and different things of that nature. Had a really fun time doing that. You know, getting into the SBA, um, you know, you mentioned that the double dribble, the Jordan versus Bird, you know, all the hoop games. How did you get into the creating the SBA, and when did it start?
So I was actually playing in the regular versus league, where you play with regular teams, for a long time. I had an SBA version of that type of league. I've been playing with the same cats, Q, Cross, Mike, Chev, boys. Been playing with these cats for 10 to 12 years, maybe even longer. I mean, Cross got me into it. And one day, me, Mike, and Chev was in a party, and they were like, George, you should start a my player league. I had never played my player before. So I started playing, and I just fell in love with it. So I'm a lean, I don't know if you're familiar, but I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt, which is a process person. Uh, you get certified on processes and how to put things in place. So I just used those skills and techniques and developed what was the SBA, but I couldn't do it by myself. I mean, I had cats like you, um, and some of the other admins that really helped bring the league to what it was. You know, we started small at first, and then we expanded out to, we went to the full 30 teams, and then it grew so much that we had to create a D league, which is now the G League, but it was a D league,
Right.
and you know, it was just a blessing, and I really enjoyed that time.
Yeah, I tell everybody that's the story of how me and LT met. He was helping you with the D League at the time, and I was running the D League with the ABL. So we ended up crossing paths, and the SBA was the place to play. Like, I mean, at that time, y'all was doing it big with the draft, you know, and all of that, man. Like, it was super dope, and it was refreshing. And I I never forget it, because I see a lot of players now going through processes where they trying to make a team and looking to play on the team. And I remember when I was that random dude, like, trying to run around and find a team to play on, and it
Right.
was a lot of people was being like secretive about it at first, because that, you know, they wanted their own shine, or they, you know, they didn't really want too many people infiltrating, not the original, you know, SBA members that were already competing and playing, but it was a lot of new and up and coming players. Um, you know, ha, now we, you know, we left that phase, and I know me and you, LT, had talks about everything before we, you know, well, actually after we had done it. And the one thing I respected is, like, we talked about it like men. Like, we, you know,
Exactly.
you had messages saying that, you know, I wish we could have, you know, done some things together. and and at the time we was like, we wasn't thinking, like, we was just, we seemed like, man, the SBA has stopped, like, man, let's try to pick up and keep something going. But you know, at that time, I just thought it was everybody back then. I think had a mutual respect for each other, and it was important for how the community grew, because it was at one point in time where, you know, obviously the community is not as big as it could be, or it's not as big as people think. But at that time, we were really small. Like before we even got to the Twitter wave, we was just strictly Facebook and stuff. But at that point, but I just like the fact that everybody was pretty much close knit, and we talked about more things, and we worked together a lot. I mean, it's still some of that happening now, but you know, it's kind of different now that we have the NBA 2K League. And then talking about that, I want to get your thoughts on the NBA 2K League and what you think about it.
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I should have listened to people a long time ago that said, "Jers, you got something here. You should probably put a patent on this." And I was like, "Nah, ain't nobody gonna touch it." And then here comes the 2K League. But I want to touch on what you said about me messaging you and how we talked as grown men about it. That all, people get in people's ear, but I didn't let that phase me. You get what I'm saying? Like they trying to take what you started and all of this. We talked about it like men. It's an open platform game. I saluted what you guys did because really, you guys took what I had and took it to another level. I mean, you guys were doing tournaments and all of that. I just didn't have the manpower or the time to put towards that. So I got to salute you and LT for what you guys have did and how you took it to the next level. But I would be missed, Kurt, without mentioning guys who really contributed to SBA, like A757, Khalil, my boy Flip, who I still hoop with to this day. You know what I'm saying? They stuck with me the
Yeah.
whole way, and I still hoop with them today. So, I met some long lasting friends through SBA. I played in MPBA. Um, and, as far as the 2K League, I salute you and all the general managers who were part of SBA that now have their own thing going on. And I'm just glad you guys never forgot where you came from.
Yeah, I mean, nah, you know, me and you, like, we've been everybody from the 2K community is not my Facebook friend. So, like, you know, man, you've been friends, you know, from the jump, and we didn't only just talk about 2K and everything. I know when I had a stint for I stopped playing with LT, and then I went and played with I played with y'all for a minute at Fella Game, and
I
that was
remember.
that was some of the most funnest times, man, because it was just hilarious. And then, like you mentioned, a man, 757, he is hilarious. Like, I mean, I know we still talk and chat on Facebook now all the time. Like, I mean, and you're right. That was the one beauty of it. And even for me now, I mean, it is to build relationships with people that last beyond the game. I mean, we only gonna be at a game so long. I mean, I never even would have thought that I would have stopped playing as much as I used to play, because we used to play all the time, like all the time.
All the time. And I still do. I mean, people like you don't got no job because I hit legend last year finally. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, you must don't have no job. But I'm just blessed. I got a wife that it doesn't bother her as much as it used to. It supports me, and so I'm good.
Yeah, man. It's and Flip, all the original guy. Like, I know I had snuck in a party with y'all not too long ago, man, and it was refreshing, like to just chop it up with people that's been there from the beginning. And me personally, I never could see myself forgetting my roots. So, like, I mean, it was because I always say I mean, we got here through hard work, but it's a lot of luck involved, because you don't see things coming. Like, I mean, you just happen to be there in the moment while you're doing what you're doing, and boom, next thing you know, you're in the mix. So
Right.
for me, I just like the fact that back then it was a little bit, it was more organic in how people done things. And the trash talking, like I said, I tell everybody now, what they call toxic, and I want you to talk about this because you had all the top players at the time, and we the group chats and the what was the
When Chev used to do the top
group
10 videos.
yeah and the group me chats and all this and all that, like what they call toxic now is like kindergarten behavior compared to what exists back then. It was no holds bar in the Facebook
But
page.
but see, Kurt, the biggest difference back then is we had the Jordan Rec Center. So everybody was in there watching and seeing who was playing, and you could jump on the court with the best guys at the time. Now you walk in, you don't know who you're gonna match up against unless you go into pro am.
Right.
You know.
No, you're exactly right. That to me, I swear, and that's what we was talking about not too long ago in the party, was that I miss like going into the rec and like it's like 50, 75 people gathered around the court and everybody watching to see what's going on. I mean, Twitch is great. I mean, obviously it gave gamers and an avenue where they can get revenue and stuff like that. I mean, it's great, and even from the viewing aspect of it is great. But that just organic and authentic 2K feel to it when you walk into the rec center and the main players are on the court and you can watch, and then like you said, get next. It's funny because that was around the time. It's a lot of 2K league professionals that were playing heavy in the rec at that time, and I knew about them, but didn't know a whole lot about them because you still had other leagues going on. I think what was his name, King T, that did that was the first money league that I was aware of, and that's where a lot of the players were playing at, like still, the team Steel Trill and all of those teams. That's where a lot of the top players were playing. But for us, the league, we like the structure. We like the rules and the aspect of that, basically trying to make it as real as possible, so to speak. But no,
Well, but Kurt, back then people used to tell me, Jers, you coming out your pocket, to build schedules because we was using a program to pay the winners and all of that stuff. And people was like, you could be charging these teams more. But it wasn't about that. It was about the camaraderie of everybody playing together, number one. And so, and speaking about the Jordan Rec Center, as I told you when you were in the party, I think one of the things 2K, uh, I mean, if you look at college scouting and NBA scouting, the scouts do look at tape, but a lot of times they go out and go to the games. So if 2K League is trying to mimic what the NBA is doing, then by not having a Jordan Rec Center or some form of center like that, to me, it's just doing an injustice to UGMs because tell me, Kurt, it wouldn't be nice to walk into Jordan Rec Center with your character and just stand on the sideline because you heard about somebody and scout
nah, without a doubt. Because the thing was back then, you would get on, you look at your friends list, you see what they was doing, and if they was in the rec, should you joining off them to get into the same rec that they
right.
was in? Unless we was trying to match up private and we all overseas with it. Like I mean,
I was about to say, remember we used to go to the overseas servers to match up? Yeah, them was the
yeah,
days.
yeah, man, and the fact that I mean, even now, like we have to go in and wear what they give us. Like the fact that everybody can match up and decide what apparel they want to put on and what team they want to represent and everything like that. I mean, and you had, I remember I met Paperboy. He's still, I mean, I don't know what he's been playing here and there. Doesn't play as much as he used to, but he was one of the first like really good players that I met in the rec. But he used to have every gym shoe. He created like every shoe, and like that was one of the things. Like everybody, even if they went in the rec and they wasn't playing, they were showing out with the shoes, with the gear, and all of that. I mean, and every now and then you still see some of those old screenshots pop up and different things like that
I was just
from the
looking at
rec
one
center.
yesterday when I talked to you. I was looking at some screenshots, you know, it was just everybody had their team. I remember fella gang was the Warriors for a long time, and if we wasn't playing, we was walking around out there with the sweatsuit on. You know, everybody like, oh, that's fella gang. Everybody knew, you know, so it was the day.
It's crazy now. You know, you got Rico. Rico was heavy, like, and it was funny because now, like, me and Rico is like super tight. But then, you know, in the SBA days, like, he used to talk so much trash, and I didn't even know him, but he used to talk trash to any and everybody every day, making funny videos, making
Wasn't
all kind
Rico
of
on the Knicks?
yes,
Didn't he play for
yes.
Khalil? Yeah, I
Yes,
remember
yeah,
Rico. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I remember I can't remember who they were playing, but it was a big game and they had got upset by another team and I was so happy. Like I said, I didn't even know Rico, but the fact that he used to just always talk trash and they had good players, you had Cheek and a lot of them guys that play heavy
Hmm.
back then that kind of I think really if a lot of players back then knew like if they even just had a sniff that potentially it would be a professional league, they would have stayed with it. I mean, I
Right.
think a lot of us stayed playing just because of the love and passion of 2K. But some, for life reasons, they stopped playing as much, started focusing on other things and working. Luckily for social media, still stay in touch with a lot of them, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, or even sometimes Twitter. But a lot of players were really good back then, and they stopped playing because it was like after a while, it was just like, oh man, it's just a game, like, and it really wasn't too much more to look forward to, and until they made the announcement, obviously after the 250K tournaments, which I wish they would bring those back too. I mean, because I think it just opens up. It still continues to help build the pro am audience. Like a lot of people, you still hop on 2K for the 1v1 park. My league, my team, and then at the way down the list is pro am. But those 250K tournaments used to be the showstopper.
Right. And a lot of them guys that participated in the league, I didn't watch them grow up, Kurt. They still on my Facebook. Cheek Moolah had a baby. You know, all of them guys.
Yeah.
I still see Chris Hines. I didn't watch him have his baby and grow up. You know, a lot of these guys still have me on their Facebook, and I still salute them and watch them grow. So
No, no, without a doubt, man. It's you know, at, right now, I mean, it's you get for me, you get it's easy to get torn here and there. I mean, obviously, I love what I do, and I accept all challenges that come with it. But it's just like from a competitive standpoint, back then, if you had an issue or you thought you was better than somebody, you meet up and you settle it. Like I mean, and once somebody took a L, they took a L. They didn't make 50 million excuses. Why they still think they're better than so and so. It's just the only thing mattered is what the scoreboard said at the end of the game. Now I feel like too many players. They first of all they self-proclaim, like they don't give people a chance to really speak for them because everybody's saying I'm great. Back then, you had to prove that to about 5, 6, 7,000 people on the Facebook chats and in the leagues and everything like that. And if you wasn't doing it like that, then nobody really respected it. Um, I don't know. It's just it is nice to reminisce every now and then. I don't say can't stay stuck there too long, but it's a good thing, man. Like now, I to get away from 2K just a little bit. I know you're a Brooklyn Nets fan,
oh
like
yeah. I,
so.
I mean, I go all the way back. Hold on. I go all the way back.
I
So
see, I
it's not a
see.
bandwagon. It's not a bandwagon.
I don't know. I already know. Like, just what's your thoughts on the big three?
I like them together. I just think that we need some more defense. I don't think that. I mean, I went on a limb and said that we would beat the Lakers in the championship. Do I really believe it? Not playing defense like we playing with the King on the other side. Because I'm a LeBron fan too. He's great. So I don't. I think if we don't make a move to get some defense, we're gonna be in some trouble because we
Yeah,
can put up points. We just can't stop nobody.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's gonna be just predicated on, you got some guys that's hurt, are waiting to come back, like Nick Claxton. The pieces we picked up, I think are gonna benefit us. Vonleh and Pele, when they play, I mean, they both 6'10" or better. Kind of what we need. Like right now, a lot of athletic players are dominating us when other perimeter players aren't going off for a career night. Because I watch a ton of NBA games, bro, and I see a lot of these players. And when they play the Nets, it's like, man, it's feast time. But when I
Right.
see them play against other teams, it's like they go back to being average again. So I think
But
even like Kyrie had mentioned it, as far as them playing down to their competition and stuff like that. Which is, I mean, if you play sports, that is a real thing. Sometimes, like, you do
right.
have games that you wake up for and games that you don't. Go ahead,
But running Jeff Green at the backup center, I mean, we
Deej.
really need a backup. Like, yeah, Pele came in the other day, he played great, but they ain't giving him the clock. They still running Jeff Green at the five. When DeAndre comes.
And I think, like, Uncle Jeff at the like, he been playing really well out there, but him at the four is a lot better. He stretched the floor. I mean, he been making plays. I mean, he been looking youthful. Really, I mean, in the last stretch, I think it was the last 13 games, he's been on a real tear. My thing is, right now, we keep getting hit with the protocols and different things like that. I know Kyrie now got the knick-knack, finger going on. I mean, I think James could be a little bit more aggressive at times, because it, it is stretches where they actually do need to score more to just to stay into the flow of the game when we're not getting stops. I mean, me personally, I enjoy the fact of putting up a lot of points. I'm still a believer that you can win games by just getting timely stops, but you can't be turning the ball over and not getting stops and then not scoring. Like, those are recipes for disaster.
Right. I agree.
But yeah, this so what? So just get your final thoughts on that. So you got where you got us going? You got us going Eastern Conference
Oh, I think
Finals,
we'll
and finally going to
no.
the final.
Well, I think we'll get to the final. I don't see nobody in the East by the end of the season that can beat us.
Yeah.
But now it's matching up with that Lake show at the end or the Clippers. You know, I mean the Sixers got a good squad, but will Embiid stay healthy this whole season? Did he go down? They done.
Yeah, it was the same. I don't know if you watched, but I watched the Lakers, and without AD, I mean, and they not the same. I mean, you don't lose. Like I said, health. I said this before. We even made the trade for James Harden. It was that health has played a huge role in teams, whether they won or lost the championship in the last 5 to 6 years. So it's not going to be anything different. You can't afford to lose uh, your top players and think that you still have a realistic shot. You can say that to a degree if you like a Lakers or something like, but it makes it more difficult. Because now, I don't know. You tell me what you think. I think I'm seeing a lot more play in the paint more than ever. Like, I think now, if you don't have them junkyard dogs and bangers and finishers, like, you suffering right now.
Like Jeremy Grant. Why you think he got paid? And he earning his money just doing that, doing the dirty work, being a junkyard dog, like he said. You know.
Yeah, I'm
But
noticing that now. Like, when a lot of teams play us, those are the type of guys that's getting off because they're just being physical, being active, and making plays. And now you look at it, you see a lot of teams, like, you realize the size difference. Like, we gave up Jared in the process, which was size and shot blocking ability and athleticism for us, and then we got Harden, which is much smaller. That's the thing when you got KD, Kyrie, and James on the floor. Like, it's not the biggest lineup just with them three alone. And then you throw Joe Harris or Bruce Brown and Uncle Jeff, and that we're super small compared to everybody. So other teams is living off of second chance points and paint points. So it's I still got us going to the finals. I think it's all gonna come together at the end of the day. I don't care about regular season records, especially when you're talking about veterans who've been playing and reached maximum levels already. So I think it's just about a matter of where they're gonna be sitting at come, you know, April, May, and going into June. Like, I mean, to see where they're sitting at. Bouncing back to 2K, you know, obviously this next gen console. What's your thoughts on 2K on next gen?
I expected a lot more. I mean, I expected, you know, I expected a lot more. I mean, the cheese is just still cheese. You know, everybody just shooting leaners. And, you know, it's the same. Everybody can dunk now. So, you know, it needs some tweaking, and I don't think we needed a big city that's got all these empty buildings. You know what I mean? Like, it's just some stuff that I don't feel that they needed to do. Um, I was hoping they was going to bring back the Jordan Rec Center or call it the LeBron Rec Center or whatever they want to call it.
Right.
But um, you know, I still play it though. It's fun. I haven't loaded up my old console and went back to 20 because I didn't play uh, old gen 20, the game that's out now. I didn't play that on the old gen console. I waited till this one came out. But I don't know. I'm looking for some improvements next year. They don't have no competition, so I mean, when you don't have no competition, what's everybody gonna do? I look at my friends list now. Majority of the people's playing Black Ops. They just
Right.
say forget it until it gets fixed. You
And
know, and if you look at a lot of the YouTubers, they all leaving.
no, you're
So
right. No, you're right. It's funny because I've never been good at shooting games. Like, so it's I don't know. I see a lot of people play Call of Duty and different things like that, but I've never been any good at. And I don't know. Maybe I need to try again. But I guess just my interest is I'm like you. I've been a hoop head, always been a hoop head. So it's hard for me to get into other games because the time and effort that you really spend, you know, getting good at 2K or even making sure your player is good. I mean, you really don't have that much time for other games to play at a high level unless you just like a lot of people just naturally good at them. You know what going forward with 2K. That's one of the things. What are some of the things that you want to see them add, and what are some of the things that you want them to take away?
the city, take away the city. We don't need it. Add a rec center. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care what you call it. I mean, you change uh, Foot Locker to what they call it now. Like they change all these things based off endorsements, which I get, but definitely add a rec center back in the game. And if not, let us wear our regular clothes at the pro am. Like, why we got to wear these uniforms? Not the pro am, but the rec.
Right.
Um, I think you took away the wheel. You took away the wheel and put this little gift wrap that doesn't have any good. You know what I'm talking about? When you spend a daily award, you
Right.
know, and
Right.
now you get 3 Gatorade boosts and three. You know, come on, man. You know those type of things. But as far as gameplay, it's not bad. I mean, it's come a long way. When I hear people complain, I'm like, man, go back and look at Jordan versus Bird or Double Dribble or even 2K9 or 2K8. Try that and then compare it to what we got. We've come a long way, but they got more work to do, of course.
Right.
But you know, part of the problem, Kurt, is 2K doesn't. They don't. Is it demo or they don't allow? Now you do have a 2K league in place. Why don't you use them to let them get the game ahead of time and test it out, playing games, and then give you feedback on, yo, this is broke. or this could be fixed, or that could be tweaked, or you can't shoot jump shots. So that way, when people buy the game, it's a lot further along than putting out all these patches. I mean, you got all these YouTubers like Brutalism. I mean, I watch Brutalism all the time because he gives you the news and he's there for the community, right? But you're not tapping into that source when you develop your game. Hey, let's fly you in and get your feedback. This is what we got in place right now. What do you think? I think that's how you get a better product. You Even in the process improvement, as I said, like the Lean Six Sigma, at the end you do tests. You're just testing it with people who develop the game, so of course they think it's good. You're not testing the game with players who play it on a regular. So
Nah,
that's my thought.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Um, at this point of the show, it's OG wants to know is rapid fire questions, answers open and honestly as possible. Um, biggest influence.
So my biggest influence is my father, my wife, and my mother, and I gotta add my sister because she's one of the strongest women I know. So
Yeah. What motivates you?
family,
Okay. Favorite video game of all time.
2K,
Favorite sports team.
Brooklyn, and New
Favorite.
York Jets.
Gotcha. And hopefully, y'all might be in the running for Deshaun.
I'm crossing my fingers.
Favorite athlete.
It's a tough one. I was a big MJ fan, but right now I'm a big LeBron fan. I love KD too, though. So I know you wanted one, but it's not that easy.
Oh no, I definitely. I mean, for guys like us who's lived through some eras, I mean, yeah, it's definitely. I'll take all three of them. Favorite actor and actress.
Denzel and probably I say Holly Berry.
Okay. Celebrity crush.
Mm. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at you ask that question because can I tell you a story real quick?
Oh, without
Real
a
quick.
doubt. Yeah.
All right. I'm laughing because we was in a party last week and the show was you ever watch 911?
I haven't.
It's what's the lady's name?
Hold
Um
on.
from 911. What is Angela Bassett is in the show.
Yeah. That's it.
So yeah, so Flip was like, Angela Bassett, and we had some young cats in there and they were like, y'all must be old. You talking about Angela Bassett, And he didn't even mean it like that, right? So the young cats was like, that's what we would do with Rihanna. So y'all old heads do that with Angela Bassett. So that's why I'm laughing when you say that, because it's just funny hearing the young cats and the old cats. You talk about everything in the party. Stocks, everything.
Oh, without a doubt, especially the women. Favorite movie of all time.
Probably Juice.
Oh, that's a good one. Favorite gaming console.
So I've been Xbox for a long time now. Um, I'm thinking about getting the PS5 to try it out, but I'm Xbox right now.
Got you.
They said all the top 2K players on PlayStation. What you on?
I'm on Xbox, but I'll tell you this:
Oh,
from somebody who had Xbox One and then a PS4, I like PlayStation is smooth to me. Like for the gameplay, everything about it is just smooth. Like I mean, that's the way I felt about it. I mean, I don't know so much about players. I mean, you from this era. I mean, we used to have fun talking about always going back and forth, better players, Xbox, PlayStation. In the beginning, it actually was just Xbox players and PlayStation. As the scene got bigger, then players would start playing on both. But initially, it was always that argument between Xbox and PlayStation. And our thing was, at the time, They let Throwdown leave Xbox, go over to PlayStation, and run the scene. So we always looked at Xbox from that point forward as the more dominant console with players. So that's just my take on it. What would you be doing if you wasn't doing what you're doing now?
I probably would have got more into the stock market and did that. But I love what I do. I mean, I work from home full time. Can't complain. So I love what I do.
Gotcha. And thanks for your service too, Dietrick. I mean,
Same to you.
Yeah, from one veteran to another, man. Like I said, the OGs, just two old heads chopping it up. I always say these young guys is keeping me young. Like, I mean, I'm staying up to date on a lot of things that I wouldn't know if I was just chilling. So being around a lot of these young guys, they help the OGs stay up to date. But man, definitely had a great time just chopping it up with you. And I know we'll be continuing to speak, online and offline as usual.
Oh, no doubt. When I come up to Brooklyn, I will check you out for sure. And hopefully when COVID is over, I can come and root you guys on.
I definitely would appreciate that, Dietrick, man. And I said, thanks for everything that you've done. A lot of the people that you inspired. I mean, and the one big reason why I wanted to bring you on this, because a lot of people who listen to the OG2CENTS podcast, they of course, a lot of them are gamers and they don't know the entire scene and how everything got started and who were the figures and everything. They only know what they know when they started. So for me, obviously bringing on a brother, a friend, and somebody, like I said, who inspired me on this journey. I definitely wanted just the people to know who you are and just pay homage to you. I mean, and everything that you contributed to the 2K community.
I appreciate it, Kurt. And good luck with what you're doing, your podcast. I'll be tuning in. Your apparel, the glasses, everything you're doing, brother. I salute you.
Thanks, man. And just everybody who listens to the OG2CENTS podcast, like I said, if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Do the same thing for all major streaming platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Just make sure you subscribe, rate, leave a 5-star rating. We appreciate it. Make sure you follow the OG2CENTS podcast on social media. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow myself, OG King CURT, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also go to www.ogkingcurt.com for everything OG King CURT and the podcast. Shout out to my team, Strider Visuals, Box Graphics, and Cy Evermore for continuing to help make the show what it is each and every week. You can catch me on EsportsXTRA every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. where we talk esports and traditional sports. And that's with host Larry Ridley, the crew, Kelly Wells Brinkley, of course, myself, Durbin Royale, Antonio Williams, and Kevin Mamuzet, producer extraordinaire. Like I said, you can catch us every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. That's twitch.tv/compete forever. That's on YouTube and Facebook Gaming as well. Make sure you tune in to next week's episode. And remember, if it makes sense, it's an OG2CENTS. OG out.
Put this work in, fellas. And much love to the entire 2K community for always showing me love. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. Yeah.